Hello and welcome to my Today in History channel. My name is Sotonye Afiesima. If you're a subscriber, thanks for your support. If you're a returning visitor, I appreciate you dropping by once again. Why not subscribe so that you receive updates of my video uploads? If you're here for the first time, welcome to my channel where I discuss events that occurred on this day in history with a view to informing, hopefully entertaining, and most importantly, learning lessons from positive events and mistakes of the past, and hopefully not repeating those mistakes. Because as the saying goes, history tends to repeat itself. So guys, let's get cracking with today's important events as recorded in history. It's the 8th of November and we'll get started with John Milton. Let's roll back our blind now to reveal Mr. John Milton, who was born on this day in 1608, as you might have noticed from this picture. So a little bit about John Milton. He was an English poet and intellectual who served as a civil servant for the Commonwealth of England under its Council of State and later under Oliver Cromwell. He wrote at a time of religious flux and political upheaval, and is best known for his epic poem Paradise Lost, which was published in 1667. Paradise Lost was written in blank verse and widely considered to be one of the greatest works of literature ever written. Go check out the poem Paradise Lost. It's very, very, very good. Very, very good. Okay, 1656. On this day, Edmond Halley was born. Now, if that name rings a bell, yes, he is the guy who the planet was named, the comet. It's named after, not a planet, but a comet. He's an English astronomer, geophysicist, mathematician, meteorologist, and physicist. He was the second Astronomer Royal in Britain, succeeding John Flamsteed in 1720. Edmond Halley was the first to calculate the orbit of Halley's Comet. From an observatory he constructed on Saint Helena, which is the island, Halley recorded a transit of Mercury across the Sun. He realized a similar transit of Venus could be used to determine the size of the solar system. Interesting. He also used his observations to expand contemporary star maps. He aided in observationally proving Isaac Newton's laws of motion and funded the publication of Newton's influential Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica. I guess that's it, Latin. From his September 1682 observations, he used the laws of motion to compute the periodicity of Halley's Comet in his 1705 Synopsis of the Astronomy of Comets. It was named after him upon its predicted return in 1758, which sadly he did not live to see. So, beginning in 1698, he made sailing expeditions and made observations on the conditions of terrestrial magnetism. In 1718, he discovered the proper motion of the fixed stars, so fixed in quotes, so obviously the stars were not fixed, but were in fact in motion. Okay, 1923. On this day, this man who history would rather not remember, and his accomplice Adolf Hitler and Erich Ludendorff attempted to start an insurrection in Germany against the Weimar Republic, but the Beer Hall Putsch, as it became known, was suppressed the following day. Okay, so that's Hitler and Erich Ludendorff who attempted to start an insurrection on this day in 1923. Let's move on now to the year 1932, so 9 years later. Again, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. During the Great Depression, Democrat Franklin D. Roosevelt easily defeated incumbent politician Republican Republican Herbert Hoover to win the presidency of the United States. So both men are pictured here. Okay, let's move swiftly on to the year 1954. Sir Kazuo Ishiguro, pictured here. Japanese-British novelist, screenwriter, and short story writer, born on this day in Nagasaki, Japan, but moved to England in 1960 at the age of 5. So that's Kazuo Ishiguro, Japanese-British novelist. So these are some of his books. Quite a prolific writer. Wasn't able to fit everything in the frame, so you can see, but yeah. Kazuo Ishiguro, Japanese-British novelist, born on this day in 1954. 2 years later, another comet was discovered. The name is Arend-Roland, so Comet Arend-Roland, discovered on this day in 1956. Remarkable for its anomalous second tail, as you can see in this picture, which projected toward the sun rather than away from the sun. Fascinating. So, 1956, another planet was discovered on this day, Comet Arend-Roland. 10 years later, in 1966, Gordon Ramsay was born. It's his daughter's birthday as well, interestingly, so happy birthday to Chef Gordon James Ramsay, OBE. He is a Scottish chef, restaurateur, writer, and television personality. He was born in Johnstone, Scotland, and raised in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. His restaurants have been awarded 16 Michelin stars in total and currently hold 7 at the moment. His signature restaurant, Restaurant Gordon Ramsay in Chelsea, London, has held 3 Michelin stars since 2001. So happy birthday to Gordon Ramsay and his daughter Tilly, Matilda Ramsay. Born on this day in 1966. His daughter, I think, is 19 today. So happy birthday, daughter and father. 1978. This fascinating character, American illustrator Norman Rockwell, best known for his covers of the Saturday Evening Post, died. I love his illustrations. Love this very cartoonish, painting and his behavior. Really, that's quite an interesting. Must have been an interesting character when he was alive. Those who knew him and interacted with him. So a few more pictures. Now that is a picture that I remember years back now. Didn't know it was made by him. I'm sure millions of Americans would remember this picture. Thanksgiving illustration by none other than Norman Rockwell. And then last but not least, that's the Saturday Evening Post illustration of Santa. Sorting out gifts for children for Christmas. Okay, let's move on to the year 2013, and it's not good news. On this day, the Philippines was struck by Super Typhoon Haiyan. They endured what many consider its worst natural disaster when the country was struck by this super typhoon. It was one of the most powerful cyclones ever recorded to strike land. So sad day for people of the Philippines. Exactly 7 years ago today, November 8th. Just some more pictures of the devastation that Typhoon Haiyan did. Okay, would like to show more distressing pictures of this event, but yeah, that's what happened on this day 7 years ago. Last but not least, 2016, on this day, despite trailing in most polls, Republican Donald Trump was elected the 45th president of the United States, though his Democratic opponent, Hillary Clinton, won the popular vote by more than 2.8 million votes. But by American law, if you win the Electoral College votes, you win the presidency. So Donald Trump won the presidency on this day. Interestingly, 4 years later, it seems that he has been put out of office. So, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for dropping by. I will see you tomorrow for another edition of Today in History. Stay safe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.